Hey everyone, right here. Just wanted to give you an update for this month. It's the morning of August 12th, so I'll take you around and show you how everything looks, what's growing. You can kind of see the tomatoes in the background. I got a lot of them coming in, so let's take a look around. Alright, so I'll start here with the herb garden. The mint plant, this has started to go to seed, so I cut off a lot of the seed heads. I'm not sure if that's going to help extend the season or how this plant's going to respond to that, but you can see there's one here. I'm trying to focus in on it. So I had like 8 or 9 of these where it was starting to flower, and you know, I just been cutting them off. I haven't used the mint too much recently, but one thing that I was looking to do was try and save some cuttings from these herbs to see if I can get them to grow and repot them, and I might even try and keep them indoors to see if I could do that over winter time, because I think that's something I'm going to try and do. See if I can grow some stuff indoors when it's freezing out here. But over here you got the purple basil. This is growing well, really, with the other basil plant, which I'll get a better view of that on the other side. But with the 2 basil plants, I've been cutting these off, the seed heads off of them, because they've been going to seed as well. But since I've been cutting off, they've been bushing out and growing continuously, so I'm happy about that. And the same thing with the thyme. I mean, this is really kind of, sometimes it gets clumped up when it rains here, but this is really growing very well compared to when I first got it. And I don't know if this is going to start going to seed. I really don't know how the thyme plant grows, to be honest with you. But the parsley plant, this is going to seed, and you can see that right here. If I could zoom in on that. So I'm thinking about pulling this plant. This is another one I haven't used recently because a lot of these leaves are starting to yellow, and I was trying to trim the seed heads, but they're also being shaded out by the squash plant behind, so I think I may just pull this parsley plant. But the squash is also doing very well. I was thinking about cutting some of these plants because it looks like the leaves are getting like a powdery mildew of some sort, but it's only on the outermost leaves. Like, all the new growth is pretty good, and I mean, it continues to produce. Like, usually I'll get a big harvest where I'll pick like 5 or 6 of them, and then I might not get another harvest for like a week or so, but then it's another round of like 5 or 6 squash. So there's one double one growing over here. Let me get in here and show you. And I picked one of them today, but I do have a few other big ones in here. So I could just get this camera in there. There we go. So you can see that. So I'll probably pick that one tomorrow. And you can see how big the squash plant has gotten. I mean, it's pretty much blocking my walkway in between the raised bed and the herb garden bed. So let me go over to the basil plant here. And there you go, here's the green basil. So this one's also bushing out quite a bit. And you know, it's growing really well. I mean, the stem on this is almost like a tree stem, like a mini tree, which is pretty nice. So I know that the growth in this bed is pretty darn good. And just like every other herb that I've shown you, for the most part, you got rosemary, which is also really starting to grow into like a Christmas tree. So I did take cuttings from both the basil and the rosemary. I have that inside sitting in a glass of water, so hopefully that grows roots and I can repot that. Now over here is the cherry tomato plant, and this one is not doing so well. Almost all of these tomatoes split before they ripen, so I got to pick them a couple days earlier than I normally would. And this is another one I'm thinking about just maybe ending this plant and cutting it so I can use this PVC pipe, because I may need to use this for the peppers, which I'll show you. But let me go over to the other tomato plants in the bed. And I mean, yeah, you can see the San Marzano plant really is not doing well because it's getting shaded out by the big beef plant. So I do have some tomatoes on this plant, but it really stops right about here. And everything else you see above is from the plant behind the San Marzano, which is the big beef. And I have about 4 vines of that plant going up these stakes. So you can see how well this is doing. And I think I mentioned this in the last video, it's growing up past the stake, so I strung a string from the top of the stake over to my gutter here. So I'm gonna grow it up there, and hopefully that gets me to September. Otherwise I may just cut off the top and kill it, but just let all the energy go into these tomatoes in the bottom parts of the vine. And I mean, maybe my best plant over here is the husky cherry tomato plant. I have so many tomatoes inside. I might have like 100 or 200 tomatoes inside, and every day I'm getting about 50 of these, or 30 to 50 if I really want to pick them. So lately I've been letting these hang on for a few extra days because these haven't been splitting compared to the one I just showed you in the pot. So these are okay to let ripen a few extra days. And every now and then I'll get one that splits, but about 90% of them are good. And I've had a few that are huge. I mean, for a cherry tomato, some of these almost look like mini full-size tomatoes. And right in between these two tomato plants, I got a green bell pepper plant. And down below here, there's really no peppers, but up top there is a few. I don't want the shadow to get in the way there, but yeah, you can see pepper right there. So I'm gonna wait for all these to ripen. And a lot of the peppers on the other plants are starting to ripen. So let me just quickly right here show you. I pulled some of these bigger chard plants, which the root of the one was gigantic. I mean, it was like probably like 2 inches or 3 inches in diameter. So I didn't thin these chard plants when I planted it by seed. So there were some of these baby plants that were just shaded out by the major plants. So I cut out all the big ones, and I'm going to see if these grow. And if these continue to grow into the fall, that would be amazing. But I'm probably going to start some seedlings for lettuces pretty soon, maybe in the next couple days. But the kale plants are going strong. I mean, I did these by seed, I think at the end of February, and they're still going. No sign of stopping yet, so that's also pretty cool. I'll probably do 1 or 2 kale plants by seed now for the fall, but if these continue to grow, then I'm just gonna let them grow. So let's go over to the other bed to see the peppers, and on the other side of this bed. And here you go with the tomatoes. I mean, you can see them just growing all the way up this stake. And then next to that, I have the sweet mini pepper. And these are turning orange, so let me get in here and you'll see a few of these here. So this one's about half ripened. And there's one right up here, which is pretty much fully ripened. So I'll probably pick that tomorrow. And these are maybe about half the size or a third of the size of a regular bell pepper. And next to that are the giant Marconi. Now this one, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see here. Oh yeah, you can see it's kind of strung up, this one branch. This actually fell over the other day and kind of cracked, so I don't even know if this branch is going to survive. So these 2 peppers may start wilting if this branch is dead from falling over. And that's going to be a theme with the other pepper plants. I didn't do the staking well enough. This is the Serrano plant, and this one has the most amount of ripe peppers. I mean, this probably has about 10 that are either red or turning really bright red. So I will be making hot sauces pretty soon. And next to that, or not really next to it, but behind it is a New Mexico heirloom pepper, which I believe is a mild pepper. It might have a little bit of heat, but there's only one of these that is ripening. Let me see if I can get it on here. There we go. So this is a nice long skinny pepper, and there's a lot of little peppers on this plant, so I'd imagine that in a couple weeks I'm gonna have a lot of these ripening at the same time. But the one thing that I did here is, instead of getting regular stakes, I got cheap wooden dowels from the hardware store, and some of them are starting to rot already, so they've fallen over. And I tied them together with string, but yeah, some of them are falling over. So this is kind of a disaster once again. I didn't stake well enough, and I will not make this mistake next year. I think I want to get like tomato cages. Tomato cages would be perfect for these pepper plants, because even if you stake them, there's usually side shoots that end up getting weighed down by the pepper size. Here's the habanero plant. So this isn't one that's completely bushing out. The main stem is almost like horizontal to the ground. It's just growing almost horizontally and, you know, getting weighed down by a lot of these branches. But there's a lot of little peppers on here. Some of them have fallen off, but none of them have ripened yet. So this would be a perfect plant that would benefit from a tomato cage. Now next to that is probably my biggest pepper plant, which is the Poblano. And it's funny because this was the smallest one when I first planted. So here's another example of a plant that I had staked up by this wooden dowel, and this one broke in half, and I had to push it down further. So it was originally like, you know, up here somewhere, and this plant has completely outgrown it. You know, if I zoom out here, you'll see how big this plant is, and what you can see what I did here. I have a string tied up to my fence post. So this is really not very well done here. I'm kind of just working with what I got after these problems are coming about. So this is exactly what I did last year with the tomato plants. I didn't stake them well enough, and this is what's happening this year with the pepper plants. As long as I get a good harvest out of these before the plants fall over, that'll be great. And what I think I'm going to do is put that PVC pipe just in the middle and maybe somehow stake all these or tie all these plants to that PVC pipe, so that'll be a little more sturdy. And right in the middle here, there's the mild jalapeno, and this is also kind of fallen over. But there's a lot of peppers on here. Actually, this is this plant under here. This is one branch of it. So you can see all the peppers on this. If I pull this up, yeah, you can see some more in there. So I mean, this plant has a lot of green peppers, so they all should be ripening probably around the same time. Some of them are starting to split a little and get that like split look. I don't even know how to explain that. Let me get in here. Yeah, kind of like that. So like all of them are getting big and kind of getting these streaks, these lines in them. There is a lot of peppers on here, and you can see right next to that all the red ones are the Serrano. And last over here I have the 3 small tomato plants, which I planted out from cuttings of the there's 1 cherry tomato and 2 big beefs here. So with these, I don't have these staked up at all, so they're just kind of sprawling all over the ground. But this is mulched pretty well. This is probably like 3 or 4 inches of mulch. So I'm not too worried about these, you know, these leaves and these branches sitting in water. You know, the water drains away pretty well from this area. So what I'm doing with all these plants is I'm growing all these on a single stem. So all the new shoots, all the suckers that are coming out, I'm picking them off. And let me get in here because the first tomatoes are starting to pop up. And yeah, you can see, I mean, I could pick this entire plant up. Yeah, so this is the big beef. And this is another big beef right in the middle. And there's only a couple small tomatoes on that one. And this is the Sweet 100. So this is the cherry tomato that was in the bucket over there. And I'm looking forward to this because I'm assuming that these tomatoes are going to be better than the ones that are cracking that I mentioned earlier in this video. It's funny because this plant keeps ending up plopping over to this side with the sun, and I have to keep manually pushing it back over to kind of create space between these 3 plants. So I'm undecided if I'm going to try and stake these or not, but right now I'm just letting them sprawl out one vine and just trimming them. And here's a quick look at the non-edible area. This is a plant I got from Lowe's. I don't even remember what it's called. I think it's like a Corcypsis or something like that. But this is just starting to flower. And this is a mounding perennial. So this is actually better looking this year than it was last year. And then this, which is a succulent. I don't remember. This is like a hen and chicken heart, something like that. So this is supposed to be a ground cover. And you can see these plants kind of just grow these buds on the outer parts of the plant. So I think that'll just continue to spread. Now, this is the real question that I have. I don't know what this is. It's some kind of tree, I believe. But I just let this grow out. This was a, I thought it was just a weed, but it kind of looked like a fern. And I thought it was going to be a fern, but I'm pretty sure it's a tree, maybe a sumac. I don't even know. So if anyone can help me identify this, that would be amazing. And then over here, I just got more bluegrass, blue fescue, a hosta, and then another blue fescue plant that's not doing as well. Thanks again for watching, guys and girls. I'll have another video for next month. Hopefully by then I have some more of the fall plants out, lettuces, maybe broccoli. And if you can help me identify that tree that's right back there, please let me know. So if you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Have a good one, everyone.